Today is 31st of October, 2023. And finally, David Hundeyin has delivered as promised. By 12 minutes past 8 p.m. UK time, David dropped on X, formerly Twitter, the first batch of the FBI file as promised. Good evening, Nigerians, and wherever you are, lovers of Nigeria, those who care for justice. This is a wonderful evening for all of us. And I hope that wherever you are, you're relaxed. And let us see how we move it on from here. We have just two things to bring to us this evening. Looking into the FBI file, the long-awaited first batch of the FBI file that has just dropped. And secondly, the scandal that is rocking the Nigerian judiciary from the Supreme Court level. There has been a strong allegation of impersonation, forgeries, and what have you. So you can imagine how people who themselves may have found themselves directly or indirectly involved in impersonation or forgery, how they will sit in a case that involves forgery and find that person guilty. You know, it doesn't happen now. And so this night, we are going to be exposing all these things. Remember that majorly what we do here is to read in between lines, to sift those all-important information that may pass through the wind of many news running through the day, so that you can see the in-depth analysis of those things they don't want you to see, so that you'll be able to make up your mind on how you help Nigeria. I welcome my friend, Ifoma. I don't know what you have to say before we start rolling. Thank you. You're on mute, please.
Yeah, Doc. So the long-awaited FBI files are out, and Nigerians can't wait to see what they contain. Honestly, this is what we've been asking the US to release. We needed to clear the air, and I think for me, I will also say this is also a good news for the president, because by the time these files are released and nothing damning is contained in it, you will be free.
Exactly.
That will just relieve you of so much burden.
Exactly.
But sometimes when you keep telling them, don't release, it will look as if there's one heavy thing, contained in it. So finally, the files are out, and we are going to be ingesting them, bringing out what is inside. And I just hope that at the end of the day, it will serve as a relief to some people.
Just like the CSU, you see how he came clean, isn't it? How he came clean. Yes, how we saw that this student was just an intelligent student that was able to obtain a certificate in 1970 when the institution that gave the certificate was founded in 1974, isn't it? It's good for us to know this truth so that everybody, no need to have a skeleton, no need to have a cupboard where you keep skeleton.
It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Like Pa Ayo Adeban just spoke, and he was saying that before now, he defended the president's certificate then because he didn't have enough information. But now that he has enough information and he has come to that conclusion that that certificate was forged, there is no point for him keep defending him. He can't be defending somebody who forged his certificate. So sometimes it's good to clear the air, let people get to understand this thing. And I think that privilege has come for Nigerians to get to have all this information now that he's a public citizen, no more a private citizen. So, Doc, back to you.
All right. So I think we need to start. There is David Hunde's X post this evening. It's just about 1 hour, 18 minutes ago that this thing hit my own handle. So let's see how David presented it, and then I can give a background. It's more than 300 pages file, when I scrolled it through. So there is no way I could have, within 1 hour, 18 minutes, been able to exhaust the whole thing. But I got us to a point where we can now see what is said in the research world. It's good for us to have a perfect framework that we can use to work. Okay? You can see that this is 2012, meaning 12 minutes past 8 p.m., 31st of October 2023. That was when it hit the news desk. And David said the FBI has sent through the first tranche of the files regarding its investigation into the Chicago Gary heroin trafficking ring. Underline, heroin trafficking ring involving Lew Andrew Edwards, Muez Akonde, Abiodun Agbele, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. All mention of Tinubu is redacted. That was the argument yesterday when people start saying, oh, the court has refused. No, remember I tried to correct it that yesterday. The court said they don't want where his name is directly mentioned. So as you're reading through that file, wherever his name is directly mentioned, it became redacted, meaning they blank it off. But that is like an expo to us. We already know what it means. Is wherever you see the redaction, you know the name that should be there. You can print it on your own and put the name there. After all, the Supreme Court has made somebody president. There is nobody that will go and remove the person, but the court of public opinion will remove who they will remove and put who they will put. And it is a challenge, even to it's a concern even in the international community, that this file is flying all over the world. So what is the boldness the person is going to have going to international meeting, negotiating with business bodies and co, knowing that a document that contains such incriminating facts are flying around, even though your name is redacted? Okay, so now
I wanted to say something. Unfortunately, this is one of the prayers that the Supreme Court judges ignored. You know, this trafficking of a thing that led to the forfeiture that happened in the US. I watched Ezekwesili. She was like saying that that is even one of the painful aspects of this judgment that was released, that this prayer that is of great importance so that the world will not look at Nigeria, you know, with the other side of their eyes. The Supreme Court was supposed to look into this issue and rule on it, but they never mentioned it. And now that these files are out, let's see what we are going to be discovering. So for those that want to read, you can go to the website. You can see it attached there, plain sight. You can go there to get to take a look at the content yourself, while we'll keep like breaking it down for you guys to get to understand with Dr. Etel's help. Thank you. Doc, back to you.
If I may ask you a question, which Supreme Court were you expecting to dare this kind of Pandora box? What integrity does that head of the Supreme Court have to be able to constitute a panel that will have such integrity? Is it not this same Supreme Court that have been in the air? Is it not this same Supreme Court that was exposed by a Supreme Court judge before he removed his official regalia and retired? He did not do that he did not say what he said as a retired Supreme Court judge. He said it sitting on his official seat in the Supreme Court chamber, no, in the Supreme Court courtroom, wearing his full regalia as a justice of the Supreme Court, and then giving his valedictory speech, which is more like his final judgment. He judged the Supreme Court. He found the Supreme Court head guilty before he bowed out of service. Is that the same Supreme Court you expected justice? You're expecting too much. Expecting too much. Just like Dele Farotimi said, These Supreme Court judges you're talking about, did they come from Togo or Taiwan or where? They came from Nigeria. They came from the stocks of people like Adams Oshomole, like Wike, like them godfathers. Are we not going to be discussing today the kind of scandal that is rocking the Supreme Court and the judiciary? Then you will tell me whether that kind of body can ever execute justice. They will be dishing out judgment, but not justice. So let's leave that. Let's just deal with this for now, and then probably we'll end with them. So now let me give us a background. So all of you, maybe those who want to read and those who would like to read, and when we come on air, you want to ask a question, it will be nice that you ask such question in a constructive way. When you go through that file, it is a coordinated investigation between the FBI and the Drug Enforcement Agency. And everything, both when they monitor, they did investigation, they monitored cars, they trailed the cars they were using, where the cars were parked, who was driving the car, the plate number of the car, and everything, and the number of hours, because all those things were required. They recorded everything. And after months of gathering all those basic data that made them believe, it's not like our EFCC that will pounce on you, first of all, dump you in the prison before they start doing investigation. No, these people will let you do whatever you're doing. They will trail you, they will follow you, they will gather all the information they need to gather before they now convince themselves that they have a case against you, and officially. So from the first page of this document, where they are recording, the logging in, their investigation, their monitoring, their dashboard, everything they did and how they did it, because a judge will want to be sure that you did not trample upon anybody's right simply because you want to indict and convict the person. And so it took them up to page 45. It was now at page 45 that they said, we have a case. And now they have the title of the case. So show me the slide of that page 45 so that our audience will understand how we arrived at that place, okay? Page 45. Because in that place now here is it. And now you can see, it says classification is now unclassified. And date was 4th of October, 1990. FBI Indiana Police, the director of FBI Chicago. Okay. Now, if you come down to the detail, it says subject, Leandro A.K. et al., drug matter. What? Drug matter. Request of the Bureau. It is required that, dash, you can now see they redacted some names. It says details. This investigation is focusing on a drug trafficking organization based in Gary. The head of this drug trafficking organization is subject Lee Andrews Edwards. Investigation has revealed that Edward, source of supply of multi-kilograms of heroin, is a group of Nigerian nationals based in Chicago, Illinois. I just wanted us to stop at this page. Now, going forward, the remaining 200 and something pages gives the detail, what happened, how they went to court, how the court found them, the evidence they presented, how they were convicted, and the charges. It is heroin. Go back and note that it is heroin we are talking about. Heroin and cocaine are what is called Class A drug. Anywhere in the world you're caught with it, you're going. So the whole essence of what we wanted to achieve and establish this night is to say, we have these documents now in our possession, and from tomorrow in detail, we are going to ransack through the pages because it just came as we're about to come on air, 12 minutes past 8 p.m. 12 minutes past 8 p.m. But I have to scan through and got to the point where I say, good, we are going to take it off from here. And so from tomorrow, we are going to begin to find how did they arrive? Why did they not arrest who they're supposed to arrest? Why did they say $460,000 for feature and other things? But one thing is important here. The Drug Enforcement Agency and FBI worked together. So the question we need to ask now is that letter that they told us that the consular in Lagos wrote to Balogun, the late IG of police, stating that FBI claimed they do not have anything, no record of this name in their data. Where did that letter come from? Did somebody forge that letter? Is it impossible? People can forge university certificates. I don't know if you've known anyone who has forged university certificate, but it is possible. People can forge GCE certificate. I don't know if you know anyone who has forged one before, but you know what I mean. Can even forge for a school that is not existing. So if those things can be forged, the question is, that letter that the president's lawyer presented in the court, which was dated 2003, saying that via the U.S. consulate in Lagos, saying that FBI say, we have never seen anything like this name in our file. How come now? How far? Because this one is coming from FBI. And it is dated 4th of October, 1990. 4th of October, 1990. How come FBI had this and somebody is telling us that FBI has checked and they don't have anything in their record? Are we beginning to piece one and one together? And are we beginning to see also that our judges deliberately don't want to ask the right questions because they don't want to open more of the Pandora box? They know what happened. And they decided to use technicality. Oh, we wanted you to submit this in A4 letterheaded paper. Why did you submit it in A3 or A2? Therefore, this will not be accepted. Oh, we wanted you to submit it with a plastic box. Why did you bring your evidence into the court with a wood box? Because of that, every evidence that is inside, we trash it. They use technicality. Because as I've said in this space, if they dare touch the evidence, the smell will be so stinking that the whole world will be surprised if they say they didn't see anything there. So they deliberately just use technicality to bounce off everything. But you know why? The reason is because he that comes to equity must, as they say, come with a clean hand. Let us listen to what Olisa Bakoba said about the kind of thing that is happening in the way they recruit in our judiciary. Let's listen to it, and we tie it up here for you to understand what we mean.
That children and other relatives of serving and retired judges and justices are being appointed into judicial offices at the expense of more qualified candidates lacking in such privilege and backing. It is asserted that the process of appointment to judicial positions are deliberately conducted to give undue advantage to the children, spouses, and mistresses of serving and retired judges and managers of judicial offices. In that regard, do you have anyone in mind? Because it's clear innuendo. Do you know some of these children and spouses and mistresses who have been appointed to the bench? And who did that, if not the CJN?
Ruben, I know a lot, but I won't tell you. I know a lot of them because I won't tell you because both of us, both you, Arise, and me will be sued for libel. But I know them. They are flooding the judiciary. They are flooding in different names. So if I'm Olisa Bakoba, I put in my kid as some other name. I put my kid as maybe Ruben and all that. We know that. It's been going on for a long time. It's been going on. So that is the culture that Rufai referred to. It's got to stop. And do you know what? We actually have in place an institutional structure for the appointment of judges. It's not working. It's been in place since 2013.
It's in the constitution.
You got to publish names, like, yes, it's a guideline.
Yeah.
It's like, a marriage ban. Does anyone have any objection to Olisa Bakoba marrying Lillian Abakoba? Please say. But they don't do it so that they can smuggle all these people in. Okay. On the point whether the...
Okay, that's it. I have a whole lot I need to sift out of this place. Now, remember, yesterday, this same man mentioned what happened under Justice Mustafa, the late Justice Mustafa. Mustafa, not Mustafa. The cleaning up of the judiciary that was that his tenure as the Chief Justice of the Federation gathered them and recommended for the government, for the judiciary to implement. Okay, that's number one. Secondly, this guideline for the appointment of judges, you've heard him now say it was in 2013. Thirdly, you may have been hearing about Justice Uwai's report on how to reform INEC, which till today everybody's saying, why hasn't INEC been reformed according to Justice Uwai's report? Now, let me ask you a question. All these three landmark reform models that have been jettisoned, do you know who was in power when those things came? Who was the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria then? His name. Now, the person who called the Justice Uwais panel was Yaradua. But of course, he couldn't finish his tenure. Goodluck Jonathan took over. And Goodluck Jonathan started implementing it because that was how we got the so-called card reader. Is it not true? The card reader that even threw him out of government. So you see that Jonathan's government, as much as they said was corrupt, and the media bought into it, and they kicked him out for it, was actually on the verge of cleaning up the urgent table of our institutions. And they kicked him out. And they came in since 2015. And they dumped everything. Because this, according to him now, this procedure of appointing judges, chief justices, had been there since 2013. Jonathan left power since 2015. So what has happened? We have had Onogen. We've had Mukhtar. We've had the other one that left before the final. We've had 4 chief justices of the Federation between the time Jonathan left office and now. And nothing has happened. And they kept the system same old, because the system, that dirty system, benefits them. Now, secondly, this thing Ruben Abati read now, he read it from the speech of Justice Datijo Muhammad, retired now. So it is not, we're not making allegations here. We are quoting him. And listening to the question Ruben Abati asked Olisa Abakoba SAN, He said, who did that if not the CJN? Did you hear that? And the reason why he asked him who did that is because it is the CJN that appoints judges, that also forward the names of the judges to the president for approval. It is him that institutes the panel that will select, and it is on his desk that will clear it. That is number 3. Number 4 is that he said, we know that it's been there for a long time. And he used the phrase, they have been flooding. To flood something means to jam pack it with, it makes it the majority. Do you agree with me? If you say you flooded that place with the policemen, it means that policemen are everywhere. You can't escape them. Now, if our judiciary is currently flooded with people that came to be through dubious means, what do you expect? And listen, the allegation this man made here is very, very strong. That people even come with a different name, which means we have today on our bench people with different names. And the executive know this thing. And so when they have a case, they don't even need to use your mouth to tell you, judge in my favor, because they have your dossier. They know that if you don't play ball, they will throw you out in the streets. So how do you expect justice? How? How do we expect justice in this kind of system? So Obi Ezekwesili is talking that she disagreed. Who did not disagree? The Supreme Court themselves spoke with double mouth. 5 months ago, they were upholding the Electoral Act in the case of a governorship tussle. 5 months after, they trashed the Electoral Act. So it's not about what is written in the law now. It's about who is the respondent or the petitioner. Where is our man? If our people, those who are going to keep us servicing our own self, plundering the system, if they are the petitioner, you will uphold their case. If they are the respondent, you will trash the petitioner's prayer, provided that their people come in and go, because now they are like the judiciary is, to me now, is like the strong room where APC goes to hide Nigerian treasures that they have stolen from us. They go to the judiciary collect it, lock it, and say, my guy, go and enjoy yourself. That's why they'll be the first to tell you, go to court. Which court? Because they know those people who are sitting on that bench, how they were hired in the first place. Even if you were hired that way, can you look the man who hired you in the face and deny him his prayer, whether he's guilty or not guilty? Can you do that? You can't do that at all. So that makes us to begin to think, which one did those judges write by themselves? Starting from the Presidential Election Petitions Court. And which one was written and handed over to them? And they say, yes, sir. Is this what you want me to read? No problem, sir. When do you want it? Tomorrow. Okay, we're gonna tell the registrar to send out notice. We are giving judgment. That is why they listened to the motion of how many parties? 3 political parties on a Monday. Collected their briefs officially on a Monday. Supreme Court, and delivered judgment on Thursday. And all 7 members of the panel unanimously agree. Think about it. It's like someone wrote it and said, take it. It's okay, yes, sir. Is this the judgment? Yes. When do you want us? This week. Fine. Oh yeah, go do it. That is it. Now, remember what Yemi someone, I've forgotten that lady that was on channels on day before yesterday, when she was saying that Supreme Court has now made it impossible. IREV is now useless, and that has now put in jeopardy the election that is coming in Imo State next. Is it this week or next week? I think it's next week. Imo State, Bayelsa State, and Kogi State. And all these places, especially Imo State, where they want to, whatever happened, APC want to come back there. Now look at what Chidi Odinkalu posted today on his X handle. The government of Imo State will take over all hotel rooms in the state capital from 4th of November to 11th of November for purpose of rigging the governorship election by housing election administrators, election monitors, embedded reporters, etc. This is organized crime made to look like a legit transaction. Let's show Nigerians the proper letter from the Commissioner of Tourism. So every hotel room, now listen, it says, I wish to refer to above subject and inform you that the Ministry of Tourism intends to rent and occupy all the rooms in your hotel, no matter the size and classification, from Saturday 4th November to Saturday 12th November, at your usual cost per room for full occupation. I therefore request you to submit to my office before 12 noon tomorrow, being 26th October, details of your accommodation bills for all the rooms highlighted covering the period for settlement. Your urgent cooperation will be appreciated. Now, it means even other political parties that will be having their own monitors, having their own team, they shut them out.
Oh my God.
And you know the funny thing? I was in a group and I was telling them, I said, for Imo State election, you have to make sure that all the polling unit agents, that there are at least 3. One whose signature will be required. One who will be on camera constantly until the election is completed. And another one who will be monitoring the 2. And that all 3 of them must, before the election, make commitments that they will appear before election petition tribunals. Because of this one, court is telling us that IREF doesn't matter. Where is the EC8A? But even at that, the court is for the highest bidder. And you see, what the Supreme Court has done is to remind the likes of the governor of Imo State that listen, as it was before, so it is. Because the Supreme Court judgment that told the world in their own judgment that APC did not participate in 2019 election is still there pending, yet APC is ruling. The judgment of the Supreme Court says there was no candidate by APC, yet APC is ruling. And they promise us they will revisit it before this election. After 3.5 years, they have shifted it indefinitely. The CJN is a human being, you know that. And what the question is, what was the price? The price the CJN may have paid to compromise our system is the blessing of making his son a judge. So it's about them, about him, his family, just as was said there. It says, at the expense of the qualified, the people who are flooded in the judiciary these days at the bench are people who are not even qualified, at the expense of the qualified. And they deliberately give undue advantage to spouses, relations, children, and mistresses. That's our judiciary. I don't know if we have anything, but I think I would really like us to keep it short this way so we can have time to get ready for the FBI assignment that we need to start working. Everybody's going back to library to read now.
Yes, honestly, I want to just say that this party, APC, like people will say, may Nigeria never happen to you. I just want to say, may APC never
Yeah,
happen to Nigeria. I
I'm
don't
telling
know where this party came out from. You know, they don't have any interest of the people at heart. They do things just to please themselves. They don't even want to like look at the consequences of their actions. You can imagine the governor booking all the hotels just for the APC and people that will be coming into the state to help them in this election. Let me not even call it that. I don't know if I would say in this election rigging, because we've known the governor of Imo State, you know, anytime there is an election in that state, there's always an exposition on how they are trying to add more voters' names, people that are dead, children, and all that. We've seen it even in so many times where each time there is an election in that state, there will be so many revelations as to what is going on, even in his own local government, where they don't even have so much population. You end up seeing the names of people, the number of names exceeding the number of the actual population on ground. So we've always seen his name appear in matters like that. And you can see the extra step they are taking now to book all the hotels at the expense of who? The people of Imo. You need to go to Imo State to see the roads. You know, I was talking to somebody who schools in Futo. He told me to come out from Futo to the state, to the city, that is not even that a very long distance. You need to see how much they have to pay because of the bad road, how rough, how terrible the roads are. Now, these people, they get all this security vote money, they get all the money that is allocated to them every month. They can't even use it to service, to give the people these basic services that people are asking for.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go to Imo State. When you go to Imo State, you'll be asking if, especially, let me just say the Southeast, but especially Imo State. Imo State. And some people will tell you it's unknown gunmen, is this, is that. See, the Nnamdi Kanu who is fighting for Biafra, it's not even from Imo State. But you need to go and see how Imo State people are really suffering. Nothing is happening. The businesses there are not even working. Many people from that state are like looking for where to go. People are leaving the state. You only end up seeing all these boys who are doing all this bad stuff to make money at all costs. Imo State that used to be one of the most educated, and you see people, even when it comes to JAM registration, GCE, WAEC, all that, they are always at the forefront. But all these things are no longer happening. People are living in fear. It's either that the army attack these people or these people attack the army. And this government is not even paying attention to all these things to address it. He just wants to come back at all costs. So you can imagine him booking all the hotels in Imo State, not considering other parties. PDP is there, Labour Party is there, and other smaller parties, you know, they are there. They'll be coming in to participate. They have their own people coming from other places to participate, but they've booked it. I'm just wondering if they will be the one to book for INEC staff and all that.
This is government that will pay this money. So it's a loss of revenue from 4th to 11th. So you can imagine all the revenue the state government would have earned and other businesses would have transacted if normal business is happening. Because who are they going to camp in those rooms for 7 days? These are their thugs. These are the party people they are going to, the INEC people they are going to bribe. And this is
maybe where they will stay to thumbprint and all that. You know, this election.
Where they will stay and thumbprint.
You know.
Because now that they have booked the whole hotel, they can now put more poles in front of the hotel and say, what are you coming here? one client booked this place. So what are you coming to do? So whatever is happening in those hotel rooms,
nobody will know.
Business. It's nobody's business. And before you know it, result is declared. People will be queuing. Hey, I'm waiting to see this. People will be queuing, waiting for election material, and they will hear result declared. And they will tell you, go to court. And if INEC come and say election was held, the court will uphold it because INEC is the angel that will never lie and can never make mistake. It's sorted.
Look, we are really in a big mess with this party, APC. I just pray that
in a big trouble. Yes.
So guys, yeah, that's where we'll be ending it tonight. Yeah, we'll just pray that the election in Imo State will take a good shape and let INEC do its job. They shouldn't go there and become partisan because with the ruling that the Supreme Court gave us, you can see that, you know, this election violence is something that is not going to stop anytime soon, because this technology was meant to reduce all those incidences. But from the look of things, they've told us that the IREF does not matter in deciding who won the election. It doesn't have any place, you know, in taking decision, declaring who came out as the winner of an election. So that will make it easy for them to TPEX, cancel, rewrite, and all that, because you can no longer depend on what is on the IRF, because that was just where the confusion, you know, came from. They made it in a way that obedience so much believed INEC, and Peter Obi is somebody that wants to believe the authority. Anything they say, he wants to embrace it and encourage his followers to equally believe whatever information that they are giving out to us. So that was how we believed INEC. We believed everything INEC told us, but we saw what happened. And the Supreme Court has come to say, yes, INEC has the right to take any decision. You know, the decision they gave us, they abandoned it, but the Supreme Court has approved it that they did their job well. So we don't have any other option. I just prayed. I don't even know how this Nigeria is going to like get better if this electoral system is not being, you know, if we don't get it right, and if the Supreme Court, the Judiciary is not ready to help us get it right, I just wonder how Nigeria will regain its, as in its supposed state in out there, so that the world will know that we also have a country. Because as it stands now, we don't really have a country. Now we have a president that is said to have forged his certificate, and the Supreme Court still gave him that pass mark. Somebody that has drug-related issue. It wasn't mentioned during the final judgment. And now, behold, the FBI has started releasing the files they promised the people. Somebody was saying if this was to be in Nigeria, that people went to court with FBI, it wouldn't have happened that these files would be released. So we really have issues when it comes to our institutions, building strong institutions that we can rely on, like our judiciary. Look at the INEC. INEC is supposed to be an independent body, but you can imagine the level of influence that, you know, INEC is experiencing, because the politicians won't allow them to do their job, and they cannot say no, because it is those politicians that will still give them the position in INEC. So they cannot like rebel against their master. That's just what we are suffering from. So we look forward to a better Nigeria. So, Doc, I don't know what your closing thoughts are, so that we can call it a day at this point.
We look forward to miraculous intervention in Nigeria. Thank you. Good night, all.
Good night. So thank you so much. So our viewers, thank you. And from tomorrow, we'll keep bringing you updates on this FBI topic, so that we'll get to know what the files contain. And like we've always said, it's good to make everything bare. Possibly there is nothing indicting. Possibly the president does not even have to bother himself, you know. So it's good that they've released the files as promised. And they told us every month they'll be releasing 500 pages. So we look forward to getting all of them and then going through them to tell you guys what and what they contain. But if you want to read it on your own, this is the website, Plain Sight. You can go there and maybe glance through the contents of the pages. Thank you so much for tonight's live show. Please do well to join us tomorrow. Don't forget to like this video so that YouTube can recommend it for more people to watch. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more updates. Thank you and God bless you. Good night.